In e-commerce, nothing prints money faster than a new product launch. You launch a new product, you send an email, and boom, money just comes flowing in. But there's a right way to do a product launch, and there's a wrong way to do a product launch. Today, I'm breaking down what's probably the most perfect product launch I've ever seen. It's from a brand called How Campfires, and they sold out in just 34 seconds. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk through, break down all the emails they sent, the strategy behind it, and look at how they did that. We're also going to examine a tool that they use that I've never seen any other brand use before. I'm Ben Fitterman from Pink Lava Studios. Let's get into it. All right, so the brand we're looking at today is How Campfires, and a launch that they did for a new product. And this is a cool company. They sell these portable propane fire pits. They're cool. You can bring them camping, places like that. You could also use it in places where there's burn bans in effect. So pretty cool product. And the launch that they did, actually, this took place October 2025, leading into Black Friday. And they have the original here, this R1. And then what they were launching is this R4 MK2. So that's what we're going to look at here. All right, so we got everything mapped out here. But first, I want to take a second and talk about, like I said, there's a right way to do launches and there's a wrong way to do launch. The wrong way to do a launch is what I like to call the Beyonce launch. I think it was like 2013, 15, something like that. Beyonce launched her album and she just put it up on iTunes. She didn't tell anyone. And then it just kind of went viral. Now, that works because she's probably one of the most famous artists on planet Earth. So she could put it up there and she can get away with that. But what I see a lot of brands doing is when they have a product launch coming up, whether they're a huge brand or a small brand, they usually just send one email right when the product is available on their website. Now, I've done that before with other brands and it works. You're going to send that email. It's going to make a lot of money because that's just the nature of launches. But you're also leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not following this sort of three-part framework that we're going to talk about here and what How Campfires did so well. The right way to do it is we basically need to think of our launch in parts. The main part where you're going to put a lot of your effort is going to be the pre-launch, the teaser section. And what we need to do is basically start to generate momentum and hype and let people know that you have a product coming, when it's going to be released, and start to tease it and get people excited. You have to remember, people are very busy. Their inboxes are flooded. They have a lot of stuff going on in their lives. Your pre-launch should start maybe a week or more in advance, and you should be generating that hype, letting people know so that you're getting as many people as you possibly can ready to buy your product. So this is the calendar of the launch. It actually took place the last week of October 2025, kind of leading up to Black Friday, holiday season like that. So their launch started on a Tuesday. They did the pre-launch started on a Tuesday. They did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They took off over the weekend, and then they went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday was the launch. They sold out on that same day. And then Friday was what we call like a results kind of follow-up email. All right, let's take a look now at the first three emails that they sent. And they all follow a very similar pattern, and they're all doing the same basic thing. We're trying to generate curiosity, create intrigue, get people excited, and we're also anchoring a date in people's mind. You're going to see these patterns keep showing up again and again in this product launch. So the first three emails here, they all follow the same pattern. They're asking a question. What if R4 was 7 pounds lighter? What if it was 100 degrees hotter? What if it had folding legs? So they're talking about the original launch, the R4, and they're identifying certain features about it. So if you see each email follows the exact same structure, they have a very simple set of lifestyle images here, which are incredibly effective. Something's coming next Thursday, November 6th. Stay tuned. And then they link back to the original product. And they follow the exact same pattern in all of these emails here. So these emails are doing a lot of great things. First of all, what I love here is these lifestyle images. Images are most effective in e-commerce emails when we're trying to convey identity to people and kind of like show them like what life is like when you have their product. People aren't buying your product because they want your product. They're buying it because it's going to fulfill something in their lives. So anyone who's buying these campfires, they're going with their friends or off-wheeling. So like that's like the kind of imagery you want to show people. They're also teasing this very well. They're talking about upgraded benefits, features and benefits to a new product. And most importantly, I can't stress this enough, they're dropping a date. We want to, remember, people are busy. We want to let them know when the launch is coming and try to do our best to get people excited and ready to go for it. So moving right along, we got the next three emails here. And this is kind of like the reveal section of their product launch. It's still part of what I would call like the tease kind of pre-launch section, but these are now doing a different function. So first look, the R4 MK2, unveiling the MK2, drop goes live in 24 hours. Those are those 3 emails. Again, this is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday leading up to Thursday. So some of you might be thinking, okay, they skipped actually over the weekend. Is that good or bad? I really don't know. The truth is, these guys might know they probably know their email metrics and stuff a lot better than we do, obviously. So you might know that, for example, over the weekend, open rates, engagement, things like that is very low. So we don't like to email over the weekend. I mean, also this is like a lifestyle brand where people are camping. So maybe people are out using this product. I really don't know. You basically need to test and see, and you can get an understanding for the best days to send emails, not really so much to optimize for open rates, but we're trying to optimize for clicks and conversion rate. And especially if you're doing a product launch, if you know the weekend is the worst time to launch, then you might want to move it. So here they are, they're introducing the product, and they're just very simple, very effective copy. They're just talking about the new improved features. It's hotter, lighter, it has folding legs, so it's a little more portable. Again, they're anchoring a date, and then limited quantities, introductory price. This will go fast, mark your calendar. Now this right here, I'd never seen this before when I got this email, and it's actually genius. What you do when you click on this, it takes you to a link to whatever calendar software that you use, and it creates a date. So it goes like this. So I clicked on the Google Calendar one, and it creates this really cool calendar link. It's time. It has the time of the drop. It has a description. It has a link right here, and you save it. Now, why is this so genius, right? If you think about this, people are super busy. So most busy people use their calendar as in some form of their life to kind of like manage everything. So if you can get your product on someone's calendar, the benefit is that, look, this is going to notify people 30 minutes before it goes live. There's a good chance that people are checking their calendars daily, so they're going to see it. And you're basically moving out of the inbox and into their phone. So you have like all these reminders and things going. So even if someone only sees this one email for your launch, your pre-launch, they got it booked in their calendar. They're good to go. This person, the chance that this person buys is probably incredibly high because they're super committed. Now, the software that they were using, it's called Calendar Link. I've used it with a few other clients, and it's pretty cool, super simple. You just set it up, and then you can, again, embed the link. Someone would click here, and then this link expired because it's from their old Black Friday event. But what you can do here is you click on it, and then it has a section where you can say you want Apple Calendar or Google or Outlook. Going back here to their emails, we'll go a little bit more in depth on this one. Again, they're unveiling it, but what they're doing here, this is the email here that, in my opinion, does most of the work. It's unveiling the R4 MK2. This one you see is the longest email in the sequence, and it's doing the most work in terms of selling the product, because again, the reason we kind of reveal things before instead of just before a launch with a teaser instead of just dropping it is because it gives people a chance to think about whether or not they want to buy the product. You're trying to sell them on it so that when the cart is open, they're ready to go. They don't have to think. They're not going back and forth. Like, you want that sold in their mind. Again, they're always hitting on the big new features of this product, but then they take it a little bit deeper in this and they kind of dimensionalize it. So they talk about how it's hotter, it's lighter. They're showing up close imagery of the product so people can see it. They're talking about how they redesigned it from the ground up based on feedback from actual customers who had the original product. They're talking about the intro price. The regular price is going to be $14.74, but for a limited time, they're dropping that price. This is kind of cool because a lot of people do discounts, but they don't really give an explanation. But here, this is pretty cool. Why give away $175 per unit? Because we know a lot of people have been saving up. We want to give them a chance to get one without having to save up more. This is really smart, especially if you're selling a really high AOV product like these guys. I mean, it's $1,200. So the chance that someone is just going to make an impulse buy for a product like this is pretty slim. They're doing a great job here of creating a lot of real urgency around the fact that they don't build a lot of these, and then giving, again, reason why. We're a new company. They can only build, let's say, like 100 a week or something like that. Anytime you can give real urgency, it's going to go a long way. And then again, add the drop to your calendar. You click that link, adds it to your calendar. So this is the email that's really doing most of the selling. So next email here, drop goes live in 24 hours. And this one is following a similar pattern here. They give you a link to the product here. They give you a time, basically explaining, again, you got to go fast. We're a small company. We can't make a bunch of these in time for Christmas. They give social proof to their first launch where they talk about how that first launch was absolute insanity. It sold out. It basically, they had a back order of 4 months, And I've been in a situation like this where I had a product launch with someone. We sold out of, it was a food product. We sold so many of them in the first week that there was a back order for almost a month. And we basically had to stop emailing and stop sending anything about it. A lot of people got angry with customer service because they want their products, things like that. So it seems like the team at Howl, they learned from that first launch. And that's why they're also being very upfront and transparent. Like, hey, you need to order this now or you're going to be put on a wait list. And then we're going to get to you when we can. They're trying to set expectations and also get in front of any possible customer service nightmare. And with product launches, that's going to happen, especially if you sell out quickly. Now, look at this. After 6 emails, we're going live here on Thursday, and that's it. The R4 MK2 drop is live. This is it. It's live. And then they just talk again about like the pricing, everything like that. Another cool thing I like here is they made a video here. I think this might be the founder or someone at the company there. And it explains the product. If this is the first time you ever saw this email somehow, or you're reading these other ones and you didn't bookmark it, you can click on it, you can watch it, and it's like a video sales letter, right? If you already bought it, you had it on your calendar, you bought it, you come in, now you get this video that's like basically gonna get you hyped up. So it's genius. Now, day 8. So this is where usually when you go through launches, typically a launch, you'll do the pre-launch section, which they did 6 emails leading up, which is fantastic. If you're not going to sell out in 34 seconds like they did here, your launch window is probably going to be, we usually let it run, like if you launch on a Thursday, you'd go Thursday to Monday. And then if you're not going to sell out, you would just close it. So if you're doing an introductory offer, you could end the offer on a Monday. If you're not, you basically would just end the launch on Monday and go back into your regular cadence of campaigns. But with these guys, this is incredible because it's social proof and it's a lot of things built in here. So y'all sold us out in 34 seconds. Here's how it went. We opened the cart, 34 seconds, 74 builds were gone. And then within 3 hours, they had already sold 300 units. Now, that's awesome, right? You're celebrating your high five. You sold a lot. But now you have to realize the clock is ticking. You have a lot of people who have purchased products and they're not going to get them right away. So they're doing a great job here of kind of getting ahead of that. What's next? We're building them. We're going to start build them as soon as we can and ship them in the order they came. When will it ship? They talk about how they got a bunch of emails from people confused about an automated message that they didn't understand. So they address that here. And then there's just like a simple thank you for making this like the best launch ever. If you can do something like this after your launch, when the dust settles, even if you didn't sell everything out, you can, for example, I had a brand we sold, again, cinnamon rolls. We didn't sell out technically, but we couldn't fulfill any more orders. So you basically want to give the results. Hey guys, this launch was incredible. We sold 10,000 things in 1 week. Thank you so much for everyone that bought everything. All right, so we covered a lot here. Just to recap, when you're thinking about this, you're like, hey, Ben, I'm getting ready to launch my own product. I might not have enough time to do 6 emails and do this launch and do everything like this. So here's what I would suggest to you in that case. You don't need to do 6 emails like these guys did. It's awesome. But what I would say at bare minimum, I would do 1 email at least a week before. So on the Thursday before, you can send an email letting people know you got a new product launch coming up and to let them know, just so it gets on people's radar. You could resend that email again. Again, these could all be plain text. You don't need to do fancy designs or anything like that. And then what I would do again, bare minimum here, you would send an email on Wednesday here, 24 hours prior. And that's when you could do sort of like your main sales pitch where you could get a little bit more into the features, the benefits, any offer that you have going on. And then on launch day, you let the email. But after this, you should probably have 2 or 3 more emails ready to go before you wrap everything up. This is, in my opinion, one of the most perfect launches that I've ever seen. If you sell out in 34 seconds, you're doing something right. So take this, let me know how it goes, leave some comments, subscribe, like, and I'll catch you on the next one.